Hi, my name is Malu and today I'm going to show you how to make two types of Sri Lankan savoury buns. One has a tuna filling and we call it Malu Pang. Malu is fish and Pang is bread. So it's a bread roll filled with fish, tuna in this case. The second one is called Seeni Sambol. Seeni means sugar. So it's onions, plenty of fried onions with sugar. And then you add chili flakes, chili powder, garlic, ginger and all the fragrant spices, cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves and all of that. And it gives the authentic Sri Lankan flavour. Without further ado, let's start. So first I have to make the bread dough. I have 750 grams of flour here. To that I'll add 2 eggs and I have to make the yeast. So yeast is something that comes in a packet. It's a sweet, so you need to waken it. If you put the yeast into very hot water, it will kill it. So it has to be lukewarm. I need 7 grams of yeast, which comes out of this packet. You add sugar. So the yeast actually feeds on the sugar and then it wakens up, and that you add to your dough mixture, and your dough then rises. Without yeast it wouldn't rise. Like when you bake cake, you put baking powder. When you make bread dough, you put yeast. So that I shall set it aside for about 5 minutes until it puffs up. And to the dough, I'm going to put about 10 grams of salt, and then a little bit of sugar goes in here. Although it's a savoury bun, it's nice for the bun to have a little bit of sweet. And then when you add, I have to add 375 ml of liquid, so I'm using milk, you can use water. But I wouldn't actually put all of it in one go. I will put it a little bit at a time, because if you don't have enough, you can always add the liquids. But if you add too much, then you start adding flour, and then you're going to end up with far too much bread dough that you need. So we can avoid that. So all I'm trying to do here is keep mixing this until it kind of rolls on itself and becomes a ball. And we'll set it aside for it to rise. It's called proving, and then we have to then prove it for the second time, because we need to knead it and make it into rolls. So here we go. So this needs a little bit more milk or water, whichever you prefer to use. So here you can see this one is slightly bubbling, but it has to ferment a bit more. So until then I'm going to try and keep mixing these together. So I've got the salt. I need to try and get the salt mixed into everything. I'm not going to add any more milk because the yeast has quite a bit of milk in there. So I shall keep kneading this and keep looking at the yeast to see if it's rising. And when it has risen, I'll see this one has started to rise, but I do want it to rise a little bit more. It should come sort of almost to the top of the cup. But you have to keep an eye. Sometimes it starts to overflow and surprise you. Okay, so see what I said about the yeast? Now it's puffed up. It's all awakened and ready to be added to the dough. So I shall continue to knead this in the bowl, and then I will set it aside for 30 minutes until it doubles in size, and then I will come back to it. So this is what it looks like. So it's not the best dough that you would have seen, but I'm going to cling film this and set it aside for 30 minutes, and I'll come back to it. So here we are, 30 minutes later. It has risen, it was doubled in size. Now what you have to do with this is you got to knock the air back. So we knock the air back like that. And then we have to knead this. So our worktop here is very clean, and you have to flour the work surface, because this flour is very likely to stick otherwise. And then you drop this onto the table like so. So now I'm not only knocking the air back, but I'm also kneading it. You have to, if you knead your bread dough, you'll have a very beautiful, smooth dough to work with when you make your filling and you try to fill them. You have to get your kids involved in making this, because it's really good fun, and I've had my bit of fun kneading this dough. So now I've made it into a sausage shape, I shall try and cut this into sections, right? And then I'll cut this into 4 pieces, I think, or 6, yes. Don't worry if your buns, some of them are slightly larger than the others, because you are making this for your family. It doesn't really matter if some are bigger than the others. You don't have to be exactly the same size. So now I'm going to use a rolling pin to roll out each one of these. So flour is essential, so it doesn't stick to your rolling pin. So I'm going to try and make this into like a ball, like so. Put some flour and then roll this out. I don't know if you had time to watch my previous video in which I made pastries, which was only yesterday. So I still have some of the fillings left from there. I have beef and I also have some vegetarian, so I can actually make more than the 2 varieties that I already mentioned. So here we are. So this does look quite thin, but remember this is bread dough and this will rise again. So here I have some minced beef, which is already cooked with pepper, salt, onions and garlic, ginger and all of that, and a little bit of nutmeg. Into this I'm going to add some tomato puree, because tomato and beef are absolutely best friends. So we add that, and it will also loosen the roll filling. So I have a little bit of melted butter here, and it's ready to go in this roll. Ice cream scoop is a very good measure, so let's do that. Put it in the middle. Actually, I might fill a bit more. And then you bring these edges together, like so. That's one. And I'm going to do the same again with the rest. Our buns, our rolls, we have the Seeni Sambol buns and we have the Malu Bunis, which is fish rolls. And as you can see, they're all in different sizes, but that's fine because you know your family better than anyone else. There might be somebody who wants a larger bun and somebody who wants a smaller one. So you have it in all sizes. So now we leave it to proof. It's called the second proof. So this is going to rise a little bit more. We leave it aside for 15 minutes. Once it's proofed, we're going to egg wash it and put it in the oven, 200 degrees C for 15 minutes. So here's how you make the Seeni Sambol. I've got my food processor here. I've put the blade to slice the onions. I've taken 7 large or really 10 large onions, quite a lot. So I cut them in half just so it's easy for me to feed it through the processor. It takes, if anything, just minutes to slice all of these onions. Here the onions are chopped. I have quite a lot of onions, so I'm going to use a cup of oil. Actually, I might bring the pan over here to add the oil. Wipe the pan dry so it's not going to spit on you, and then add the oil, 1 cup of oil. So you can see I've got quite a lot of onions here. So pop it up the high flame because it's a lot of oil, a lot of onions, and a large pan. So I'm going to use the largest pot I have. Then I'll put all these onions into it. And I shall continue to fry this for about 20 minutes until it becomes golden brown and ready to receive all the fragrant spices. So now will be a good time to add some salt to it. Here I have some Himalayan salt and some ordinary salt mixed. So about a tablespoon of salt goes in there. So I have about 10 to 12 onions here. The salt will also help to draw the excess water out of the onions and evaporate it, and the onions will crispen and become lovely and golden brown. Here they are, they're out of the oven, and I'm just brushing a bit of olive oil on top of it just to give it that extra glisten, so it'll look very pretty and it will be crispy as well. So there we go. So here they are, the onions, they're well cooked now. They're lovely golden and brown, and they haven't crispened yet, but they will do so once I put 2.5 tablespoons of sugar, but they're flat tablespoons, so it's not a lot. But you will see why I've added so much of sugar. It's because I'm going to add quite a few other bits. So I'm putting the rumper in big pieces so I can take them out. I wouldn't be filling that in the buns. And then I have the Sarah, which is lemongrass. I'm going to put it in this massive piece so it'll do its thing. It'll flavor the onions, but I can take it out. And then I'm adding some beautiful red chilies, like little red rubies. They're pretty. And they give it a tiny bit of heat. But for the real heat and to cut the sweetness of the sugar, there goes 3/4 tablespoon of chili flakes and 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. And I'm also adding a little bit of pepper, so maybe 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And the fragrant spices I'm adding are clove, about 1/4 teaspoon of clove, and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, and about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And last but not least, I'm adding a little bit of ginger paste, so about 1 teaspoon, and about 1/2 teaspoon of garlic. So I'm going to mix all of this. The fragrance is amazing in here. I'm immediately transported to Sri Lanka now. So then I'm going to fry this further for another 2 to 3 minutes and it will be ready. So now this is ready and it's ready to come off the fire, so I'm going to turn it off. And once it's cooled down, I'm going to pick out all these large pieces of the lemongrass and the rampasera and carapincha and all of that, because I do not want to put them into the bun. So here's a very easy trick how to make the tuna filling for the rolls. So for the malu pan, for the fish buns, I empty the tuna into a pan that's on the hob on medium heat, like so. So I have 4 tins of tuna. Empty them, and then rather than go through the whole process of chopping the onions and putting the different herbs and spices, this is sort of a very easy and simple trick that if you make the Seeni Sambol buns and you make the fish buns on the same day, you'll benefit by doing this. So here we have everything. One thing that we shouldn't actually have in there is the sugar, but quite frankly, when it mixes with the fish, you're not going to taste the sugar at all because it's got quite a bit of chili in there. So I'm going to take a little bit of the Seeni Sambol and some of the oil, because the tuna was in brine, so it's quite dry. So I'm going to add majority of the oil from this fried onions, like so, and then voila, you have your tuna to fill your tuna buns. So now I'm adding a little bit of pepper, and I've also added some tomato paste from here, tomato puree. I've added about 1.5 teaspoons of that. So Now the color has improved and the filling for your fish rolls are ready. How easy was that? So I'm going to take one of these out. So it looks almost like a loaf of bread. It's so heavy and it's lovely. I'm going to try and cut it. I might actually cut a smaller one. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. There we go. There we are. So this one has got a good amount of filling. It's on the top, the bread is at the bottom. I'm going to try and just pull a piece out. The dough has really proved and it's baked really well. It's really soft to the touch, and I'm going to taste it. It's very soft, it's light, crispy on the outside, and it's delicious, and you should try it at home and you'll love it, and you'll impress your friends with it. Make it when your friends come around for tea. In Sri Lanka, what this actually now needs is a lovely cup of Sri Lankan Ceylon tea. That'll just make a perfect marriage in heaven. So if you've taken away some hints and tips of my cooking today or baking, there's a link below which is donating to the NHS, or if you are watching this video from any other part of the world, do a bit of research and see charities that actually work for caring for people during the coronavirus pandemic, and please donate. As they say, give as much as you can, give what you can, even if it's a pound, it's fine. As they say, it's every drop of water that makes up the mighty ocean. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.